Hey, hello guys. This is Christopher from Mob Tales. Today we have a very special guest, good friend, co-author John Alite, um, who's been around the life for a very, very long time and has been doing a lot of positive things to help a lot of people. And we'd like to welcome him to the show. Thanks for coming on, John.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me.
All
How's
right.
everything going?
Good, good, good. It's more than a pleasure to have you. Love the sunglasses.
Thank you.
Gotta get a pair. They're great.
You know, I wear a lot of designer sunglasses, so it's kind of my signature these days.
Oh, really? Oh, I gotta get a pair. Shit, I didn't even know that. Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. All right. Well, today I want to talk a little bit about, things that you've been doing recently, currently, projects, stuff that I know you've been shooting in Vegas, stuff like that. Maybe if you get people a little more up to date about what you're doing so they can know what to look out for.
I did a horror film with a guy named Jeff Hewlett from it's called Sick Minded, and he did a short, and then I got involved in that project. They asked me to get involved in that project, and I met him, and I filmed with him in Florida, and he's from Virginia. So they had the premiere of that a couple months ago that unfortunately I couldn't attend because I lost my daughter. So I didn't attend that. And I've been doing some regular filming with a new film that's out at Vegas. It's called Ahead. It's about a street crew of guys, street gangsters, not the mob, but street gangsters that are involved in different activities. It's an action and sort of black comedy also with it. That'll be out shortly, and I have a new Netflix series out January 2024, and I have a four-part series I filmed in Spain that was number one out in Denmark, Sweden. The UK was involved with it, and hopefully it'll be in the United States shortly. And we're going to start filming part two to that four-part series in Spain, I believe Morocco and Brazil, starting about March again. So
Wow,
I've
that's
been busy.
cool. What
And now
was
I'm doing rap. Actually, after tonight, after we finish, I'm doing a young guys Albanian crew, brothers twin one and two. They're called. They're flying in. They're going to meet me in Philadelphia, and we're going to do a video on a rap song they did where they mentioned me in a rap song. They asked me to get involved, and for the Albanian community, I always get involved, so I said yes to it.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, the project you mentioned just before that, the one that you're going to be, filming overseas, is that that's not no, it's not connected to Fear City, right? It's totally different.
No, it's totally different than Fear City. It's about the Brazil penitentiaries and the life of my partner Klaus, that was from Denmark, that did time with me. We've been friends for since the early '90s. He happened to be in the same penitentiary as me. The four-part series is actually about his life and the involvement with me in his life as his good friend and the guy that was in prisons with him. So we did it based off of his life and the involvement I had with him in the street and in jail in Brazil. So,
Okay, the Brazilian Ayo Franco. Am I correct?
yeah, right.
Right. Okay. Oh, that sounds awesome, man. Very good.
Yeah.
Oh, but the
It
so
did
that
very well out in Europe. It did, like I said, it was a four-part series that was a number one show. So they liked it and they asked to do a part two to it, another four-part series. So we'll be doing that shortly again.
but that the first part's already been released. You mean in Europe?
It's been released. Hopefully, it'll be sold to the states. I don't know. They're negotiating that. That's outside of my realm of my involvement with the
Right.
producers and executive producers and directors. Whatever they're doing with that, I'm really not sure. They said it was coming here, so we'll see.
Okay. So we can't. So people here can't see it just yet. We have to wait till it gets U.S. clearance.
Yeah, as far as I know, nobody could see it here yet. No,
Yeah.
it
Okay.
was what they call a hybrid docu film. So there's guys playing us. Top actors actually were a actors that were playing our roles, and then we were also playing ourselves in it. So it was kind of neat the way they did it, and they got a top actor playing Klaus and another guy that played me, and and that same guy also was involved or was going to be involved in my series I did with Nat Geo, Locked Up Abroad. So he stays in touch with me, Nunzio, and he's pretty relevant in social media. He's a real guy, a guy that really works out. It's in a lot of great shape, does a lot of videos and stuff. So he was involved in that.
Oh, the guy that played you in that film, what did you think? He did a good job?
Yeah, he did a good job. He's a nice guy. I mean, they played. There was a couple guys. Some of them played me as young ages, and then older ages they came in and played me, and they played me in my parts. A couple guys, different guys in the Brazilian jails, which I thought they did a great job. Well, they went out to the Brazilian jails and they filmed it, and so they got perspectives of guys that were in jail in Brazil with us, from Turkey, from Spain, from Italy, another guy from West Africa. So they got some people, UK, people that were involved in those prison systems with us. So which
Oh,
was a thing to do, because then you get the accurate account of it.
oh, that's cool. Okay, sounds great. You did have a book out not too long ago. If I remember, the name was called International Mafia, I believe.
Yeah,
Um,
Mafia International.
right, Mafia
And
International, right.
that had perspectives again of not so much of me, it was chapters of guys from the black community, from the neighborhood that knew me, did business with me. They did a couple of chapters in it. Klaus from Denmark, and about himself and his involvement with me. Then you had other gangsters from around the world and from different states that were involved with me. So they did chapters about their perspective of the crime world with me and without me, and their cartels and things like that. So it was kind
Oh,
of,
wow, sounds
again,
cool.
a unique way of bringing it across.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. You have recently, well, to give a little background on people that may not know about you, which is hard to believe. Um, you've been involved in the life for many, many years under with the Gambino family, which I know you're far removed from that right now. Yeah, I'm just curious, and I'm sure people probably asked you this question before. Um, is there any times that you miss that life in any way?
Well, you miss the action, right? The adrenaline. I talk about it, but I got a different adrenaline now, and I got a positive adrenaline. I used to joke and say, "Go bowl, join a bowling team if you want adrenaline." The camaraderie of the guys. But my adrenaline now is trying to save kids' lives from getting on the street, doing some of the stupid things I did and other people like me did. And then the biggest thing is my daughter's over my shoulder, passed away from fentanyl, and that's my number one priority now, is combating the fentanyl killings that are going on in this country. It's not fentanyl, people aren't ODing from it, and I'm very precise when I talk about this, because ODing is when you blow your heart out from multiple drugs and drinking and different things in a mixture. Fentanyl is a drug they're placing in drugs that these kids aren't aware are in there, and they're intentionally harming them and killing them.
Right. I mean, well, since I know you've been very outspoken about it very recently. Um, is there anything that you are in the process of working on to, like you said, combat this problem?
I did a show the other day, the Sober Sit Down, and I talk about, there's a brief clip that we just put out today about the mob, and it's I call it the mob infested rats of the mob. It's not what people think, and they're trying to recruit people. I talk about this, or people that are online talking about the mob, talk about positive thing. There is nothing positive. If you're a kid on the street, you're going to die in jail. You're going to get shot up and killed. You're going to get hurt bad, or you're going to become addicted to drugs, or the same drugs you're trying to sell. So I talk against these guys, about their nonsense they're trying to sell. And I'm just, they're selling bullshit. It's forget about the guys that are getting straightened out, or the guys that are associates, or the wannabe guys. The bosses are all cooperating. And if a boss is giving an order and you follow it, you're going to go to jail. I mean, I'm naming all the bosses. They're all ratting on all their underlings now. It's the opposite way. So, there is no structure. There is no long term in that life. And there's nothing but negative. So I address it truthfully to the kids so they don't lose their lives. And I say it the way it is. And obviously people aren't going to like what I have to say, but it's factual. I mean, I go through the names, a list of wise guys that are ratting, they're making guys in their underwear. And if I'm the guy being made in my underwear, I tell the boss, whoever straightened me out, well, get in your underwear, because usually the guys that are all spilling your guts first. So, this is, this is the truth of that life. There is no loyalty. And the loyalty should be to our younger generation as men, good men. We should be sticking up for and trying to help these kids have a good life, educate them in every manner that we can, and try to save lives.
Well, you see, that's I know you've been harping on that for a long time. Have there been any speaking sessions that you've had recently anywhere where you've discussed things like this?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing in about a week. I'm going to an art gallery with a friend of mine who's in prison. He got 400 years, 20 years ago. Oscar Lugo. His daughter is doing a talk. I'm going to be joining her at an art gallery in West Philly. And we're going to be talking about that, talking about the pitfalls of drugs, how at younger ages, you make mistakes. As you get older, you're a changed human being, and trying to advocate for guys like him that are in prison that regret their past lives. And, they work with kids and try to give strong messages to save kids' lives. So that's one. And I do a lot of shows. I just did the Sober Sit Down with Scott.
Yeah,
He sends a positive message about, the drug epidemic, the killings with fentanyl. And I just did something with Grant Stinchfield on the same subject, fentanyl and what's going on in this country and politics. That was just recently released. And I'm trying to get a group of people that's signing petitions with our government. Our mayor and governor, in New York, just recently gave out a testing bid for vaccines for $600 million. It was a $200 million bid. She called it a state of emergency, and she gave it out to somebody she knew for $400 million. If she was a gangster, she'd be in jail for bid rigging. But since she said it was a state of emergency, she got away with it. Now, her own party, the Democratic Party, and it was also approved by the Republican Party, gave her a bill and she vetoed it and said she didn't have enough funding to stop the fentanyl killings and epidemic in New York. It's disgusting what these people are doing. They're stealing money. They're telling you they don't have enough money to save kids' lives. And they give a dumb excuse that, because they're stealing money and they got their own pet, things that they're doing. They're taking money and say they don't have funding. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. So I want everybody to funding to save young kids' lives like my daughter behind me. Yet you could take the Gulf War, you could take the Vietnam War, you could take the Korean War, and all those wars combined, you don't lose as many kids as we just lost this year. And not only that, you have Ukraine and this administration giving them about $100 billion when everything's said and done and approved from this year's budget by McConnell and Pelosi. Two people are full of shit on both ends of the aisle. And they give $100 billion, and total 20,000 people passed away on both countries. And I do feel bad for the people. But if you could give $100 billion for that, why aren't we giving that $100 billion for a real war of our American citizens here being killed by fentanyl, and you won't give a couple $1 million to fight this thing? It's incredible. Forget about billions. They won't give billions to fight this. So when people are saying, well, where's the war? The war is these pills. If that many people are dying and there's another country and we're giving $100 billion for 20,000 people, when you got our whole country being devastated by a bomb, because that's what fentanyl is. It's a bomb. It's arsenic being released in our country, and nobody's doing anything about it. These politicians, they talked about it before the election, and that's about it. They're full of shit. And I always say the same thing. I'm not shy. Defund the politicians, indict them, charge them with RICO, and maybe we can get something done with the people of the United States, because I'm for the people. I'm for America. And, these politicians just for themselves on all sides of that aisle. They're just full of shit. They're robbing the shit out of the people in this country, and people need to speak up. Stop being cowardly.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Some people will come back and say, oh, yeah, John's all of a sudden very patriotic. All of a sudden he loves America. But when he was on the street, he didn't care. Now, if people say, people are going to say things like that. You got haters out there. Or people are going to say, oh, John flipped and he did this and he did that. Now, how do you combat that kind of aggression?
It's very simple. When that little baby just died in California,
Yep.
that's not about John. That's about a child that just died of fentanyl. When my daughter died behind me, she's not a gangster either. She died of fentanyl. When Michelle Leah's brother died, he died of fentanyl. He wasn't a gangster. I'm speaking up for the people that can't speak up for themselves. This ain't about John. This is about every one of these kids and adults and family members that are dying of fentanyl. So these imbeciles that have the audacity to bring up John, this isn't John. This is whatever happened to me. I can't change that. The only thing John can do now is try to save some kids' lives and people's lives in America. So the people that say that, they're pieces of shit. When a baby dies of a drug, an innocent kid, by touching something that maybe their parents or somebody else, I really don't know the legalities of that case. I just know a baby touched fentanyl, had it ingested into the system and died. The problem is any idiot that talks and makes this about me and not about fentanyl and the kids that are dying is that much of a fucking idiot. There's really not much I need to say past that, because what kind of human being doesn't have a heart for all these kids that are dying? And I'm the first guy to say our life was shit. So that was my life. This ain't about my life now. This is about trying to be active to get these politicians to stop stealing and saving kids' lives and make it a priority over every other war. This is a war. Make a priority of it.
No, I agree with you. That's true. On the other side of John Alite, you have done a lot of, you had a couple of books out, one you did with me, and you are also on the cusp of doing some other bigger projects outside of what we talked about. What is besides combating fentanyl, combating this problem that you're willing to take on your own, no less? What other things are you looking to do in the near future for John Alite?
Everything I'm really looking to do is, listen, we all are out on the street trying to make a living, in a positive way, not in a negative way. And I'm trying to change that negative name that I had a big reputation for, and I'm known in the media for some of those bad things years ago. But for the last decade plus, my only priority is to save lives now, to go out and try to do something positive and continue to do things positive and stay in a genre of helping kids, helping people that have, depression, people that are taking their own lives. I lost a lot of friends in the last couple of weeks. Two of them took their own lives. One was a very personal friend of mine. Another friend of mine, his friend just took his life also. And I think that, mental awareness is something that, for whatever reason, this government's scared to talk about. When you're locking down kids and you're using whatever reasons for locking them down that don't, follow the science, and you're causing these kids to be stuck in houses that are not healthy to be in, not going to therapy because they're in the house because they're intimidated. When you're fear-mongering them, instead of you're teaching them confidence, this is what's going to happen. They're going to use drugs. They're going to kill themselves. They're going to do everything that's bad for them, not good for them, because you're feeding them things that are bad for them. And the division politics, I'm going after because I'm an inner city kid. And for me, it's about saving kids' lives and making them understand there's opportunities out there and giving them confidence. It's not about breaking them down and about selling a message to make the politicians rich, to be able to maneuver these kids, brainwash them. And this ain't about being a Democrat, Republican, Independent, because I hate when they keep doing that. This is about making our children successful as they grow up confident, and for them to understand what it is to be free, and the belief of freedom of speech, our Constitution. That's all this is about. When you got a basketball player, Brittany Griner, who's in jail in Russia. I hate to see anybody in jail, but I think she's got a new appreciation for America. When you understand, when you go to other countries, you can't talk the way you talk here. And because you got those freedoms, and these kids that believe in something different, let them hop on a plane and go to Russia and start talking the way they do here, and see how fast they change their attitude and they really appreciate this country. And it's not the kids' fault. They're being brainwashed. They're being taught nonsense. And as they get older, they'll change. When I was a kid, I said a lot of stupid things too, did a lot of stupid things because your brain's not developed yet. You don't understand the world. But these are the adults and the politicians that are using them like pawns and manipulating them and trying to control them in different ways for their own power, their own greed, just the way we did it under the mob. And we want to keep them under our thumb. And that's exactly what they're doing to them. And, obviously I see through this nonsense. So.
Yes, I agree. Well, I think the mob worked a little bit different than the politicians. I tell you the truth, I trust.
Yeah. Actually, politicians are more vicious.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt, they're more vicious. Yeah, and if anybody thinks they're not, they're naive.
Yeah, I trust a wise guy a lot quicker than a politician. That's for sure. Well, John, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on. It was great hearing all this information. If anybody wanted to reach out to you to get some of your products or the books, the information, updates, where can they go?
Go to my Instagram, True John Alite. Go to my website, johnalite.com. Comment, follow my podcast, Sink or Swim. It's about positive things that we talk about, people that are going to make it through the world and not quit and sink. They're going to swim. And I want to say, as always, in memory of my daughter, everything, and Chelsea, and for my friend Charlie that's has been feeling good lately. God bless you, and you'll be fine. He's one of those guys that advocate for me to keep swimming, don't sink. So I got the same message for those young guys out there. We're all struggling somehow, and don't think you're alone. So you can reach out to me. They know one of my sponsors is BetterHelp. I always talk about them because I truly believe in it. It's not even about that one of my sponsors, but people need to talk to therapists, and I've been doing it for years. So I think they should reach out.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks a lot, John. It was more than a pleasure. And
I appreciate you guys.
No, thank you. I'm sure we're going to talk soon.
See you soon, brother.
All right, brother. Thank you. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. It was great having John on the show. Definitely leave your likes, share, subscribe to the channel, leave comments, and we'll be coming on with another guest next week. Thank you very much.